His blind date never showed up until two little twin girls ran up. They beat our mom, she's dying. It was supposed to be an ordinary Saturday night. Ethan Carter had ironed his best shirt, the one his sister insisted made his blue eyes less sad. He sat at a corner table of the small Italian restaurant, half nervous, half hopeful. After 2 years of loneliness following his wife's passing, he'd finally said yes to a blind date. Her name was Maya. They'd exchanged a few texts. She sounded kind, funny, maybe even healing. For the first time in a long while, Ethan felt a spark that life might not be done surprising him yet. He checked his watch. 7:15, no message, no sign of her. He took a sip of water, telling himself she might be running late. The waiter passed by with a sympathetic smile. Another 15 minutes, still nothing. The place grew louder, filled with the chatter of couples and families. Ethan's table, in contrast, felt like a small island of disappointment. He sighed, half laughing to himself. Guess I'm not as lucky as I thought. He waved the waiter over for the check, when suddenly 2 small voices pierced the restaurant noise. Mister, please help us. Ethan turned to see 2 little girls, maybe 6 or 7, identical twins with tangled brown hair, matching pink jackets, and tear-streaked faces. They looked terrified. One of them grabbed his sleeve, breathless and trembling. They hurt our mom. She's not moving. Please, come. Ethan froze for half a heartbeat. Around them, people just stared. No one moved. The waiter hesitated, glancing toward the door, unsure if it was real or a prank. But Ethan saw the raw panic in their eyes, and he knew. He tossed a few bills on the table and followed them out into the cold night. The twins led him through an alley behind the restaurant, their tiny hands gripping his as though he were their last hope. Where is she? He asked, trying to keep his voice calm, but inside, adrenaline thundered. Behind a dumpster he saw her, a woman slumped against the brick wall, her face bruised, lip bleeding. She was breathing, but barely. A shopping bag lay spilled beside her, groceries scattered, a broken phone lying in a puddle. Ethan knelt beside her immediately. Ma'am, can you hear me? She groaned softly, eyes fluttering open. My girls, she whispered. They're safe, Ethan said quickly. Don't move, okay? Help's coming. He pulled out his phone, dialing 911. As he spoke to the operator, one of the girls whispered, Some bad men came. They wanted her bag. Ethan's heart broke. The woman looked about 30, exhausted and fragile, but there was something strikingly familiar in her face. Something that made him pause. Her voice, even weak, sounded hauntingly recognizable. Your name? Is it Maya? He asked softly. Her eyes met his, confused, then widened in shock. Ethan? His breath caught. The world stopped for a moment. His blind date, the woman lying bruised and bleeding in front of him, the one he'd been waiting for, was her. By the time the ambulance arrived, Ethan's hands were shaking. He rode with Maya and the twins, refusing to let go of their tiny hands. The paramedics said she'd been attacked by 2 men in the parking lot. She'd tried to fight back to protect her girls, but passed out before help came. If the twins hadn't found someone, at the hospital, while doctors worked on Maya, the girls clung to Ethan like they'd known him forever. He bought them hot chocolate from the vending machine and sat with them in the quiet waiting area. Mom said she was going to meet a nice man tonight, one of the twins whispered. She said maybe he'd make her smile again. Ethan smiled faintly, blinking back tears. I think she already did, he said softly. Hours later, a nurse came out with a tired smile. She's stable. She's asking for you. He stepped into her room. Maya lay pale but conscious, her hand resting weakly on the blanket. When she saw him, her eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I didn't want our first meeting to be like this. Ethan sat beside her, taking her hand gently. You don't have to apologize for anything. You're the bravest person I've ever met. The twins peeked from the doorway, smiling shyly. Maya looked at them, then back at him. They wouldn't stop talking about how you helped. You saved us, Ethan. He shook his head. No, you 3 saved me. I thought tonight was going to remind me what I'd lost, but instead it reminded me what's still worth fighting for. Weeks passed. Maya recovered slowly, and Ethan visited every day. bringing flowers, food, and sometimes little origami cranes he made with the twins. The girls called him Mr. Hero. Maya teased him for pretending he didn't like the nickname. One sunny afternoon, the four of them sat in a park, watching the twins chase bubbles across the grass. Maya leaned against Ethan's shoulder, smiling softly. "I almost didn't go on that date," she admitted. "Life's been so hard. I didn't think I deserved something good anymore." Ethan looked at her, his voice quiet but firm. "Sometimes the best things happen when we stop expecting them, and just keep our hearts open." She reached for his hand, and for the first time in years, Ethan felt peace. Not the kind that comes from solitude, but the kind that grows when broken people help each other heal. That night, as the sun set behind the park, the twins ran back and wrapped their arms around both of them, giggling. Ethan lifted them easily, laughter echoing through the golden light. And in that moment, surrounded by love he hadn't been searching for but had somehow found, Ethan realized something simple yet profound. Sometimes, when the person you're waiting for doesn't show up, it's because fate has already sent you where you're truly needed. And love, real love, often begins not with a perfect meeting, but with a moment of kindness that changes everything.